Well, hello, everybody. I hope you guys can hear me. If you are watching me this evening, please just take a moment and say hello. Well, I can hear myself. I got a little bit of feedback, so I know I'm live and I know the sound is good. So, you guys, hi, this is Caron. I am your independent demonstrator. You're with Stampin' Up, your ATX stamping lady. And tonight it is Fun Fold Friday here in the craft room. I waited a little bit. I didn't see anybody else join me in the craft room, so I just decided I was just going to go live. If you are watching me live, hello, welcome. If this is your first time joining me live in my YouTube channel here in the craft room, welcome. Let me say how much I appreciate that you are taking the time out of your Friday evening to spend just a little bit of it with me. I know you have your choice of who you watch, who you spend your time with, and time is a precious commodity. So I am very, very appreciative of any time that you choose to spend with me. All right, so every Friday, I try to do what's called Fun Fold Friday. Fun Fold Friday is where I explore playing with a fold that is either new to me, something I haven't done in a long time, but I play with a fun fold and I just have a little bit of fun with it. I've done a bookbind fold before. I've just not ever done a bookbinding slash Z fold card. So this one is a little new for me. So we're going to break it down and we're going to have some fun. If you're following me on my social media, you will see that this month, my featured stamp set or my featured product is the Wildly Flowering suite, of which the Wildflower Designs bundle is a part of that suite. The you can find the Wildly Flowering suite. Let me grab it. Let me tell you where you can find it. It is on page 41 in the Stampin' Up annual catalog. Okay. This stamp features some awesome dies, an embossing folder. We have gems, and of course the stamp and die, bundle in the set, and this gorgeous paper, which we went over previously. Oh, I should make one of these. You know, I'm going to incorporate this guy right here into our card tonight. You watch. Ha! I'm glad I opened this book. All right, so let's take a look and get ready to start. So the bookbind fold is it's a fun fold. I tried to write our measurements out. So let's get started. I'm not sure if we're going to use this sentiment or not, but I grabbed the Simply Said bundle or stamp set, and we might just be using that. Not sure where a sentiment is going to lead, so I just wanted to make sure that I had options. So we are going to need, let me share with you the parts and pieces that we are going to need. I didn't cut any of it. I should have, but I did not. So we're going to need a piece of cardstock, the card base. And tonight I am using the print that is mostly the, what is this color called? Misty Moonlight. So that's the color palette that I'm going to work with. And I think I'm going to try to stay somewhat monochromatic. I'm going to bring in other colors, but I'm mostly going to be monochromatic. And since we've got some scraps here, I need to get one of my my sleeves so I can put my scraps in. So I'm just going to bring out the scraps. I'm not sure how I'm going to cut it just yet, but I'm just going to use the scraps today since I already have so many scraps. Okay. All right. So let's start cutting and creating our card base. So let's bring in our trimmer. And for this fold, now we can cut 2 bases at one time, right? And so our card is going to be 4 1/4 by 11. So let's do those scoring. Let's do our scoring so that we can cut 2 sheets or 2 card bases at once. So the first score line is going to be at 2 1/8. And my friend Michelle always says to me, "Don't you have a score blade?" I do. I just prefer to use my my bone folders to create my scores. I don't know why. It's just a preference of mine. So our first score line is at 2 1/8. Our second score line is at 4 1/4. And remember, again, we are doing our scoring on the 11-inch side. Okay. And then our last score line is going to be at the 5 1/2 mark. Okay. Then we're just going to turn this around at the 8 1/2, and we're going to score it, cut it at 4 1/4. Okay. When we're done with this fold, we should have a card that fits in an A2 envelope, the Stampin' Up! Medium envelope. Okay. So let's put this out of the way for now. So what we're going to do, I'm going to flip this over because we always fold toward the valley, right? And we're just going to burnish our fold lines, okay? And I'm going to fold them all in the same direction to start with. Okay, making sure everybody lines up. Doing the same thing here, making sure everybody lines up. And making sure everybody lines up. All right, so here we have our fold. And this outer piece, this will be our 2 1/2, where we 2 1/8, right? We're gonna fold this one back on itself. And that's the only fold that's going to be in a different orientation. Okay. And so we should have something that looks like this. Okay. And we're also going to fold the second fold. So this would be our 4 1/4. We're also going to fold that one back as well to create our book bind, or binded. I can't speak. Okay. So that's pretty much done. And so all we're going to do, make sure everything is lined up, is we're going to add our adhesive. Now we're going to use a strong piece of adhesive in here. Liquid glue, double-sided tape, whatever it is you use, make sure it's very strong, because when people are handling this card, you don't want it to open on them and destroy your pretty little card. So just make sure to reinforce your fold, make sure it's strong, whether you use liquid glue, double-sided tape, or Seal Plus with Stampin' Up. Okay. Put my glue scissors away. So I'm going to use some glue tape. I'm sorry, some score tape. Right in here. I put my blocks away this morning. We'll just grab a block out. And I just used a block to rip the tape. You don't need scissors on this one. But I do use a block. Make sure I get a relatively smooth hair. Relatively smooth. I turned my fan off today in my craft room because it's really loud when I listened to one of the playbacks today and it's really loud. So I'm hoping I can I'll be okay for a little while I create this card. I do not appreciate, I love the heat. I'd rather be in the heat than the cold, but I don't like the heat at all. I like my temperatures to be neutral, not too hot and not too cold. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna remove our adhesive our backing. And then we're gonna close this guy over on himself to create, make sure it's lined up now. There we go. And then we're just gonna give that a good press to make sure the adhesive does the binding that we need for it to do. All right, so that part is done. And now we're gonna create our internal piece right here, okay? So we needed 2 pieces of designer series paper that was 1 inch by 4 inches, okay? So I think, what is this? Just shy of 2 inches, so we can't use that one. I mean, I guess we could. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna use this. We're gonna trim this down to 4 inches. And then I need 2 pieces that are 1 inch each. And this should be perfect. Don't forget, if you are watching live, to comment. Let me know where you're watching from. The more you interact with me, the more chances you have to be one of the winners for the giveaway that I do in my videos, and somebody will win one of the cards that we create this evening. All right, so we have 2 pieces, that's 1 inch by 4. And so this was 4 1/4. Right? So if we go 4 1/4, we'll go down to 4 by 4, right? And so with a 4 by 4, if we're gonna mat, if you're going to mat, then your mat layer needs to be 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. If you're going to mat, all right. Or if you're not gonna mat, then your inside piece needs to be 4 1/8 or 4 by 4. Okay, so I'm gonna go with 4 by 4. Actually, I am gonna go with 4 by 4. And I am gonna mat 4 by 4. Okay. And one of this is gonna go right here. And I see the wild wheat is very prominent in this. So I'm gonna mat with wild wheat. Let me just go grab a piece up because I don't have one here with me. Give me just a second. All right, we got some scraps of the wild wheat here, so maybe we don't have to cut into all of our beautiful paper here. So let's see if we can make that work. So this is 4 by 4, 4 1/4. So we're going to trim this to 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. Good. We got a 4 1/8 line in here. All right. So this is our 4 1/8. And this is our 4 1/8. Okay. Now, this is 1 inch. So we're going to need 2 pieces or 1 piece that's 1 1/8. Let's see if that's what this is. It's just shy. We're going to need 1 piece that is 1 1/8 by 4 1/8. Okay. Whoops. All right. What is this? This is a, yeah, I'm not going to work it that way. That's too much math that I have to do in my head at that point. And I don't want to do that. Nope. No math tonight. Not in my head. That's why I got hung up last night. So 1 1/8 by 4 1/8 is what we need. Okay. Perfect. And then we're just going to layer this on here. This is going to go right here. Let's make sure that we trim this perfectly. Yes. Amazing. All right. Are you ready for the weekend? I mean, I am ready for the weekend. I am so ready for the weekend. This is my, as I was walking out of work today, I was like, okay, next Friday will be the last Friday that I walk out of this building as an employee. I start my new job the following week. So it's a little bittersweet. The time is, I mean, just last week I gave notice, my 2 weeks notice, and it's just like this first week has gone by like, I mean, I don't even know how fast it's gone by, but it feels like it flew. It feels like it just flew by. All right, so we've got our first piece that's done. Our card base is almost put together, and then we're going to have to work on our focal element. So we're going to put this on here. All right, just like this. And the key with liquid glue is to not, until you're sure that you have it where you need it, apply a very little pressure. All right, so we're going to put this on here like so. I'm going to put this right up to the edge. Well, somebody just joined me. Thank you for joining me. If you are, please let me know who you are and where you're watching from. Welcome. And I hope you were able to see the measurements in the Facebook group event. I will post them in the description below, the description box below when we're done with this class, when I'm done with this live. And then we're going to put this right on there. Now, if we're going to stamp on the inside, we should probably think about doing that just about now, okay? I generally do not put an inside sentiment on my cards, but I don't know. I'm feeling insidey today. Right? So there we go. Let's see. So we're gonna make this a birthday card, I think. And I'm gonna bring in, let's see how this is Country Birdhouse that I just grabbed. Let's see how this sentiment will play in there. It's too wide, so we can't use that. Nope. All right, so we may not put a sentiment on the inside just yet. All right, so we're just gonna align this. Then we're gonna apply it to the inside, like so. And this can go right up against, but we're not going to. We're gonna give it a little bit of a border, and our inside is done. All right, so now we just need to design our focal image, and then our card will be complete. So we're gonna need a piece of, let's go with our basic white. And our basic white is going to be 4 by 4 inches. No, it's going to be 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. Okay. And this is going to be our focal image. So we need this to be, again, 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. Okay. And because we know that I already pre-cut these into quarter panels, so I know this is 4 1/4. So I'm just going to trim this down to 4 1/8 on this side, and then 3 1/8 on this side. And then I'm going to need a piece of, am I going to need to trim I'm going to need to trim a piece of wild wheat, apparently, because I need a piece that is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. All right, so if you are not going to, if you're going to use designer series paper as your focal image, then instead of cutting the basic white, then you'll just cut your designer series paper to 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. Okay. And then mat that, and then that'll be your focal image. Okay. So now let's get a piece. We're going to need to trim that. So let's bring in the big mama trimmer. And we're going to make that guy which is a good number because a quarter sheet, a half sheet of an 8.5 by 11 is 4 1/4 by 11. That's a half of it. And then we needed a piece that was 3 1/4. And that's what we're going to do here. So we have our piece that's 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. I'm going to trim another piece, maybe. All right, let's put this away. Okay. Now, remember when I told you that I wanted to incorporate that design that I saw? Well, now we're getting ready to go do that, right? That's going to go like this. This is going to go like that. And then it's going to lay like that. Perfect. All right, let's put this away, our designer series paper. Put that back away. And now, so when we were looking at page, I think it was 35 or 41, 41, I think it was. That's what I thought it was, right? I really liked it. It was simple, but I really liked this design. So this is what we're going to recreate on this panel. Okay. Hold on. Let's grab our wildly flowering, our wildflower design. That's this. I'm trying to make sure I don't knock anything over here. And we're going to need our wild wheat ink. Grab my little mat that I can make sure I can ink and stamp and make sure things do what I need for it to do. All right, so let's go ahead and grab our stamps. Now this is a rubber stamp, a cling mount stamp. I might do a little embossing on this one, guys. I'm not sure. I might emboss this piece. Give everything just a little bit more texture and interest. All right. So we're going to need this guy. We're going to stamp him twice. All right. And we're going to stamp this in wild wheat. Now, I may not do it exactly like they have it in the photo, but I am using that for inspiration, okay? So, 1, 2, and that's done. Then we're going to need the other stamp set. And we're going to stamp that one in Misty Moonlight. Okay. Ooh. I don't want this to get caught on my... I might have to do a little bit of stamp surgery here. All right. And then we're just going to add this guy about right here. And then we're going to add him again about right here. Okay. And then I might want to add, we'll leave that one for now. And always call it back. We can always bring it back, right? And then we're going to add, which apparently I haven't used all the stamps in this bundle, in this set, because it has not, I haven't put the sticky back on it yet, apparently, right? So which one is this one? This one right here with the leaves. So we're going to pull this out. And this is how, just a tip as to how I adhere my stickers on the backs of my stamps, is I do leave them in the the red rubber housing that it's in. I will take 1/2 of the backing off. I will make sure it's aligned properly. All the corners are where they need to be. And then I will lay it in just like that. Then remove the other side. Then that way I reduce the amount of overlap, overhang that happens when it's not aligned properly. All right, so here we go. And this one, it looks like we did it in the green, and there's Mossy Meadow in this set. So I'm going to grab my Mossy Meadow ink pad and use that. Now I'm going to stamp off my Mossy Meadow because Mossy Meadow is a very dark color. And I just don't want it to be as strong as it can be, full strength, okay? So full strength, oh, I just made a mess again. This is what Mossy Meadow looks like, and I don't want it to be that. So I'm gonna stamp off, and then I'm just gonna stamp this in here somewhere, and I'm gonna overlap things a bit. Like so. Then I'm gonna overlap them this way. And it's just gonna look like a hodgepodge, but it's a beautiful hodgepodge, right? And then one more. No more. Sometimes you just gotta know when to stop. Sometimes you just gotta know when to stop. Sometimes I miss that mark myself, but I listen to myself sometimes, and there you go. Moody Mauve is in here. So it looks like they used Moody Mauve in that one, but I'm keeping in mind what I've got going on here. Okay, so we got some of this splatter going on. I'm gonna bring in, oh, pebbled. What are the in colors? It's the 22, 24 in colors. Is that right? No, 23, whatever it is. I can't remember. See, at night, I stop thinking a lot. So we are gonna use Pebbled Path, stamp off. This is what it's gonna look like. So it's kind of still dark. So I need to stamp off twice and go with 3rd generation. Okay, because that's kind of like the tone that I'm looking for. I want you to know it's there, but not have it be so in your face, if that makes any sense. I think that's enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to call that a day. All right. So we're almost done designing our focal image. And all we need to do now is stamp our sentiment. And we're going to put this on here. Mat this. And here you got it, have it, guys. We are almost done with the fun fold for this Friday, which is the book binding Z-fold card. And tonight we featured the Wildly Flowering Sweet most or the wildflower designs bundle. That is the name of the stamp and die set. The entire suite collection is wildly flowering. Okay, got that down. And then all we're going to need now is our sentiment, you guys, and we're pretty much finished with this card. Okay. I put it away, didn't I? So we're going to grab one of these guys again. And I think I'm going to go with, let's go with the wild wheat on this guy. We're going to do it on the inside. I don't want it too dark, so we're just going to stamp off. All right. And we're going to have just a little flower coming up from the corner. Just like that. All right, sentiment is where we're at now, and then we'll be ready to call this card complete. Sending happy thoughts is what we're going to do. Let's take a look and see how wide this sentiment is. Is it going to fit? If you're on my Facebook page, you'll see that I posted an informal poll. So I'm thinking of adding another let me make sure this is right. Yeah, that's right. And I took it off in the wrong direction. And because I did that, I got to make sure that I line it up almost dollar for dollar and guide it in. Here we go. There we go. And then we're going to take this off. And then our sticker will be added. And so one of the, nope. I rushed. And it did not fall into place. All right, so bear with me just a little bit while I try to fix my mistake here. Hold on. Hold on. And the reason I've got to fix it is because if I don't, when I go to stamp, I might have it misaligned if that makes sense. Okay. You gotta just make sure that it lays in its right positions the way it needs to be. Yeah, just like that. Okay. Perfect. Let's grab this guy out. We're gonna need a piece of Misty Moonlight. Did I grab a piece over here? I did not. I don't know why I don't just bring the whole paper over sometimes, right? All right, so I don't have any scraps. So what I'm going to do now is kind of just trim off. This will probably be about a 1-inch piece. I think 1 inch would probably do the trick. Yep, 1 inch. I'm going to trim 1 inch off. Let's just trim the inch off this way. Like that. Start my 1-inch folder. And this is about 1, 2, 3. Let's 3.5. Let's go with 4 to be on the safe side. It's always easier to trim things down than to wish you had cut more off. Lesson learned. Wonder why I said that, right? Who has made that mistake before? I have multiple times. Oh, I just need just a little bit more, and it's never there. All right. Let's grab our sentiment. Line this up. Use one of these lines on yep, it's lined up. All right, so now I'm gonna grab my embossing buddy, right? Find my Versamark. Don't have to look very far because there it's at. There it is. And then just make sure we get some good coverage on this. Now, Versamark is one of those inks that I make sure that I go way overboard. Unless I line it up, my stamp, in a stamp positioning tool, I tap, tap, tap until the sun comes down kind of deal. I want to make sure that this is inked properly, not to the point where there's excess in between, but a lot of ink. Okay. I think that's good. All right. Let's stamp our sending happy thoughts in the middle. Make sure we have good transfer of ink. Okay, there we go. We did very well with that one. Then grab our white embossing powder. Starting to get hot in here. I am. I've been hot. It's just I'm starting to notice it now. Sometimes by the time things register in your brain, you've been there for a minute, right? All right. Okay. Now, depending on how this embosses, we might have to do a second layer. All right. Unlike clear embossing powder, which when you put it on, you can practically put it anywhere. The thing with using the other colors of embossing powder is once you heat set it, it sits there. So if you didn't get any of the excesses off and you go to double heat emboss again, it will just add to where that area where you did not want it to be in the first place. So So to be considered to win this card, just leave me a comment and let me know what you're going to be dressing up as for Halloween. Okay. I will do the drawing on Sunday during the mystery stamping event. So make sure to comment before 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Sunday, the 29th of September. That is when I will be doing mystery stamping. I'm going to trim this down just a little bit. I know it was just an inch. I think we went an inch, right? But I want it to be a little bit closer on both sides. And what I love about these arms, you guys, I use the guide. I line the bottom of the sentiment up with the guide, and that's how I trim. Okay. The guard is maybe about what it gives you about 1/8 of an inch room. So I do take advantage of that. If sometimes I really don't measure my sentiment, I get a rough estimate as to what I will need minimally, and then I just trim to get the exact measurement that I'm looking for. And then I can tell you, this is the measurement that I used. But otherwise, I don't know that ahead of time generally. All right, so let's go ahead and get this attached, and then our card will be complete. All right, so the first thing we're wanting to do here is we're going to add our adhesive to this part of our card, okay? And the reason we're going to do that is we don't want to have to try to guesstimate where it needs to be. So we're just going to add the adhesive to this panel, okay? Okay. Then we're going to do exactly like we just did. We're going to make sure we line it up here. Make sure everything is aligned. And then we're just going to press that in place. Give it a good press. And there we go. And lastly, we're going to add our sentiment. We're going to add our sentiment just like this. Okay. You can do it straight even, but I'm going to have it overlap just a little bit. Now, because I'm going to have that little bit of an overlap, I'm not going to put any adhesive on that side. And I have my finger here is a little bit of a guide that says you don't want to put anything past that side. Where's my little thingamabobber? All right. Riddle me this. How many dimensionals is Caron going to use on this panel? And I'm going to stop with the first one. I don't want you to, you got to guess a little bit. I think I had about there. So we're going to go here. If you said 4, you were correct. Okay. And what I am going to do is I'm going to keep my finger right here because I want to make sure that I don't put any of, I don't want to make sure to accidentally have the dimensional, go on that panel. So I'm putting my finger here There's just a little bit of a guide that says don't go past that. Okay. And there we go. Perfect. So there we have our little fun fold. Now we're going to add some because I like bling. So we have to add some bling. What bling we're going to add? That is the question. That is the question. Oh, these might work well. I'm gonna go with this one. This basic, it's basic gray and smoky slate pearls. I think this would work very well. All right, so now that you know how to make a book binding Z-fold card, are you gonna try it? I'm gonna post the link to the Facebook group where you can, once you do try it, you can go ahead and place your version of this card, of a book bound card, and let me know or share with me and the rest of the group what you've created. We would love to see what you did. I had a little oopsie there, so I had to make sure that got covered up. Don't you guys do that? We have a little bit of a saying with amongst my but fabulous fun Friday stampers where we like just put a bird on it, you know? That's what we call when we make a little boo-boo. We just add a gem or a die cut or something, and we just put a bird on it. I love my girls. All right. So you guys, there we have it. The book bound fold, Z-fold, featuring the Wildly Flowering Sweet collection or the Wildflower Designs bundle. What do you think of this card, y'all? I will be making it again because I do like it. The fold is very beautiful. The other thing that I'm thinking of, and I haven't done this, right? So if now the purpose of this is to have our little Z fold, right? But if when you're mailing it, this happens to be a problem for you, I'm thinking about maybe a piece of the Velcro that you could attach to the back, and then it'll fold, and then it'll separate. Of course, you can see in the back the little Velcro piece. But if that fold bothers you, then you can definitely do the Velcro, or you can add some designer series paper in between here to cover up the little smaller magnets if that's what you choose to do. But generally, this is how this card is supposed to be. I love it. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Just leave me a thumbs up or a comment and let me know what you think of this card. I will post all of the supplies in the description box and also on the corresponding blog once I write it. So you should be able to have everything that you need to recreate this card. You guys, I am Caron Bailey. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. I would love to have you as my VIP customer and to support you in your Stampin' Up journey and in your stamping journey, period. Thank you for joining me this evening. Guys, have a great weekend and happy stamping.